Tadej Pogacar is the biggest star in cycling at the moment, having an all-conquering season in 2024, adding more accolades to his already historic career, not even being 30 years old. Despite being seemingly invincible at the moment, there have been moments in his career where he's been put to the sword by rivals. However, many of these riders soon felt the wrath of Pogacar later, and the Slovenian would ultimately get his revenge. So in today's video, we're going to look through 7 of these riders that thought they'd got the better of Pogacar, but later came to regret it. And as always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But the first rider on our list is the Colombian Ivan Sosa, and Pogacar and Sosa both crossed paths at the 2018 Tour de l'Avenir, where Ivan Sosa was already regarded as one of Colombia's brightest prospects, boasting a handful of big victories. Pogacar, on the other hand, was less established but had shown flashes of brilliance, but these two really showed themselves on stage 7 when they were in a very elite group on a mountainous showdown that included Brandon Minolti, and when they came up towards the finishing line, it was Ivan Sosa that got the better of Tadej Pogacar, winning the stage. Nevertheless, Pogacar did take the yellow jersey as he had been riding more tactically throughout the race until this, but nonetheless, Sosa was the winner on the day. Stage 8, the two riders managed to mark each other and weren't up there towards the front, but not losing time, and on stage 9, Tadej Pogacar put in the vital blow, not winning the stage but finishing third, more than a minute clear of Ivan Sosa, and ultimately taking the title. And since the Tour de l'Avenir, Ivan Sosa and Tadej Pogacar have definitely gone in very different directions on the World Tour. The next rider is Filippo Ganna. Him and Pogacar are two of the modern cycling giants who have clashed in many terrain, but if we focus on the time trials in the head-to-head, it's a very interesting battle, as early on Filippo Ganna dominated Pogacar, with the 6 first meetings going the way of the Italians, before Pogacar took his first better position in a time trial than Ganna in the opening Tour de France stage on that very wet day in Copenhagen, where he finished 3rd and Ganna finished 4th. And Ganna also wiped the floor with Tadej Pogacar at the 2023 World Championships in Glasgow. Nevertheless, the year after, in the Giro d'Italia, on the first time trial into Perugia, a very lumpy course, it was Tadej Pogacar that managed to steal away the victory from Filippo Ganna with 16 seconds, despite Ganna looking very strong and almost disbelief by the Italian. So Tadej Pogacar ultimately got his revenge. But you could also say that Ganna got a bit of a revenge as well, because he took another stage win there. However, Pogacar winning a Giro d'Italia time trial stage was quite a feat in front of Filippo Ganna, and a bit of revenge for the Glasgow and the other time trials. Next is Enric Mas, and him and Pogacar, of course, two of the cycling's elite climbers, and briefly found themselves locked in a compelling short-term rivalry during the late season of the Italian Classics in 2022. Though Mas, predominantly known as a Grand Tour contender, he definitely showed some potential in the one-day races. At the Giro d'Emilia, Mas and Pogacar both lined up as favourites. The race, culminating on the brutal gradients of San Luca, was the setting for Enric Mas to launch a winning move with more than 2 kilometers to go, and he was able to fend off Pogacar, who could do nothing, and finished 11 seconds behind the Spanish rider. The result was a statement for Mas. He proved he could match Pogacar in critical moments of a demanding one-day race, and showing the evolution he had done as a rider. A few days later, the rivalry continued at Il Lombardia. In the decisive moments of the race, Pogacar launched several attacks trying to get rid of the Spaniard, but Mas matched every move until the final sprint, where the Slovenian managed to outkick him and took the monument victory. Though brief, the late season clash between Mas and Pogacar at the 2022 season was certainly an intriguing one. The next one, we have to go into Pogacar's Neo-Pro season, and this is where he had his first of many duels with Primož Roglič in a Grand Tour setting at the Vuelta a España. The pair had already met before at the Tour of Slovenia in 2018, where Pogacar finished 4th and Primož Roglič won the race. But for the Vuelta, Pogacar was determined to show that he was not just there to survive, and he showed very promising signs early on to not just be a bystander to Primož Roglic's win. Despite taking 3 stage victories and winning the white jersey, Pogacar didn't win the Vuelta, but he did finish a very impressive third place considering he was only 20 years old. The next big clash between the pair in a Grand Tour was the 2020 Tour de France, and this was of course a very unique edition. Throughout the race, Pogačar demonstrated his remarkable climbing abilities and resilience against the might of Jumbo-Visma and his fellow Slovenian Roglič, who had been in the yellow jersey since stage 9 and seemed poised for his first victory, entering into the penultimate stage. This stage was an individual time trial to La Planche de Belleville, and Roglič, holding 57 seconds, looked very comfortable. Pogačar started the time trial with nothing to lose, everything to gain, and from the onset he attacked the course with unparalleled intensity, showcasing not only his physical prowess but also his mental fortitude. His performance on the flat sections was impressive, but it was on the climb to La Planche de Belleville that Pogačar truly unleashed his inner beast. As he ascended the punishing slopes, Pogačar seemed to defy the limits of human endurance. Spectators and commentators alike were in awe as he steadily closed the gap on Roglic's lead virtually. With each pedal stroke, the improbable came more possible, and the cycling world watched in disbelief as the time splits revealed Pogačar's dominance. Not only had he taken the fastest time on La Planche de Belleville, he had destroyed the course, the fastest time when he crossed the line. He had not only won the stage but also obliterated Primož Roglic's lead, gaining 1 minute and 56 seconds in total. The extraordinary feat catapulted him into the yellow jersey, securing his first Tour de France victory at the age of just 21, becoming the youngest winner of the race since 1904 and the first Slovenian to claim the prestigious title. And this win really shook up Roglič, as to this date he has not finished a Tour de France since that defeat. From foes to friends, Adam Yates and Tadej Pogacar might be synonymous with teamwork and have shared many glories at UAE Team Emirates, but there was a time where the two engaged in a fierce rivalry that played out across the scorching landscapes of the UAE Tour. In 2020, Adam Yates at the UAE Tour was the leader of Mitchelton Scott, whereas Tadej Pogacar was riding for UAE and was already a rising star after that Vuelta a España. The decisive moment of the race came on stage 3 at the summit of the Jabal Hafid. Yates attacked early, using the experience and explosive climbing ability to distance the competition. Pogacar, despite his valiant chase, couldn't close the gap, finishing second on the stage. Yates not only claimed the stage victory but also seized the leader's jersey and the record on the climb. Over the remaining stages, Yates defended his lead with a display of strength and consistency, clinching the overall title. For Pogačar, it was a hard-fought second place, a sign of his growing prowess but also a humbling reminder of the challenges at the top level. A year later, the tables turned as Pogačar returned to the UAE Tour as the reigning Tour de France champion following that shock win over Primož Roglič. With newfound confidence and a growing aura of invincibility, Adam Yates, now riding for Ineos Grenadiers, was keen to defend his title. Unfortunately for Adam Yates, he lost a bit of time in the time trial to Pogačar, but that didn't deter from once again a battle happening on Jabal Hafid. But this time it was Tadej Pogacar who dictated the terms, unleashing a perfectly timed attack towards the finishing line and taking the win. Yates, though valiant in his pursuit, couldn't match the Slovenian's power. On top of the stage win, he also took the leader's jersey, and over the rest of the race, Pogačar showcased his dominance, winning the overall title, distancing Adam Yates on stage 5 up to Jabal Hafid, where the winner was a plucky Jumbo-Visma rider with the name of Jonas Vingegaard. Speaking of superstars, Mathieu van der Poel and Pogačar have mutual respect for each other, being two of the biggest names in the sport. In 2022, Pogačar, ever this fan of cycling, wanted to experience the Tour of Flanders for himself as the defending Tour de France champion, which had been a very rare feat to see, given the potential risk. In the race, Pogačar stunned the cycling world by proving that he couldn't just match the sport's best cobbled riders in the world, but also outshine most of them. His relentless pace on the climbs like the Orde Quaremont and the Patenberg whittled the field down to an elite group including himself, Mathieu van der Poel, Dylan van Baarle and Valentin Madouas. However, despite being potentially the strongest rider on the day, he was caught out in the final sprint, and that cost him dearly ending up finishing outside the podium. He was forced to watch Van der Poel take the victory, and that was certainly a bitter pill to swallow. The following year in 2023, he was determined to do better, and E3 he was there in the finale but lost out to Mathieu Van der Poel and Wout van Aert, but was still seen as one of the main favourites for the Tour of Flanders. From the start, Pogačar made it clear he was in control, staying vigilant at the front of the peloton. He navigated the early chaos of the cobble sectors and narrow roads with precision. By the time the race reached the Koppenberg, he began to test the rivals with searing accelerations. Each attack chipped away at the contenders, with only a select few able to follow. Among them was, of course, the reigning champion Mathieu Van der Poel. The pivotal moment, however, came on the second ascent up the Order Quadramont, where Pogačar launched an explosive attack that was able to put Van der Poel into some bother, and he wasn't able to match the acceleration. And with every pedal stroke, Pogačar distanced himself from the Dutchman, and by the time he crested the climb, Pogačar had broken the race apart with only Van der Poel in pursuit. It wasn't long before Pogačar found the finishing line, disbelieving of what he had done, and he was able to add yet another monument victory to his glittering palmares. Pogačar had returned to Flanders with a plan, and he executed it to perfection, becoming only the third rider in history to win both the Tour de France and the Tour of Flanders. Flanders aside, a rider who would never do the Tour of Flanders, and that is Jonas Vingegaard. Him and Pogačar have captivated the modern cycling world with their very deep rivalry that has spanned across 4 Tour de France's and many more to come. The rivalry began in 2021, where Vingegaard, an emerging talent, was thrust into a leadership role with Jumbo-Visma after Primož Roglič crashing out of the Tour de France. At this point, few could imagine the explosive clashes that would follow, but Pogačar dominating the race completely and winning the Tour de France that year, but Vingegaard second in his first ever Tour de France. However, in the 2022 Tour, despite Pogačar dominating early on, picking up a number of victories, and it looked like it was all over, the Dane shocked the world by upending the Slovenian's reign by delivering an unforgettable performance with his teammates on stage 11 on the Col de Granon, and continuing that feat by winning the Hautacam stage as well, and absolutely demolishing Tadej Pogacar. Equally, in the 2023 Tour de France, Jonas Vingegaard yet again had the better of Tadej Pogacar, unleashing a devastating time trial on stage 16 and cracking Tadej Pogacar on the Col de la Loze as well, and the Dane winning the Tour de France with a huge deficit down to his rival. Then came 2024, a year when Pogačar entered the Tour in prime condition following his imperious victory at the Giro d'Italia, searching for that Giro Tour double. Meanwhile, Vingegaard was on the recovering end from a crash at the Tour of the Basque Country and had not raced a single day leading up to the Tour. Pogačar, eager to finally break Vingegaard's grip on the yellow jersey, was in imperious form on stage 4 and delivered a stinging blow on the Galibier and descended to his first stage win and pulled on the yellow jersey for the first time since 2022. From there on, Pogačar ran riot with the race, picking up a number of victories throughout the final week, conquering all the big mountains and even winning the final time trial into Nice, almost effortlessly distancing the Dane whenever he wanted to. And with that impressive feat, he became the first rider in over a decade to win both the Giro d'Italia and the Tour de France in the same year, completing that coveted double and even going on to win the rainbow jersey as well, to completing the Triple Crown. In the end, the 2024 Tour de France was Pogačar's revenge, a clear statement that he had learned from his past losses and was ready to reclaim his place at the pinnacle of the sport. Vingegaard, despite his impressive career, was no longer untouchable, as Pogačar's relentless pursuit and ultimate victory proved that the Slovenian had come back and got his revenge. But with that, that's basically it for this video. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and why not check out a video of how Tadej Pogačar changed the sport, or even the rise of Jonas Vingegaard. But for now, that's basically it. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you around.